This segment is brought to you courtesy of Caribbean American Weekly, a newspaper owned and operated by Caribbean Americans. Read the latest edition at www.cawnyc.com. That's www.cawnyc.com. To like us on Facebook, to advertise or to subscribe, visit us at www.cawnyc.com. That's www.cawnyc.com. To advertise with the Caribbean American Weekly publication for freelance assignments to distribute at your business place, visit us at www.cawnyc.com. That's www.cawnyc.com. Or to meet a marketing representative at our office, call 718-771-0988. That's 718-771-0988. A very warm welcome to everyone. We are joined by a very special guest, the Honorable J. André Laveau, who is the Consul General for the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome, sir. Good to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Our pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks. Well, I've been Consul General for about 2 years and 7 months. I am a career Foreign Service officer. I'm glad to be in New York at a very historical time. It's also a very challenging time for everyone the world over, particularly challenging for the mandate of the Consul General and the Consulate General overall. But we are pressing on. We are doing whatever we can to serve our nationals, to empower them to be the representatives that they strive to be of our country. We see Trinidad and Tobago as Greater Trinidad and Tobago, really, which includes not just territorial Trinidad and Tobago, but Trinidad and Tobago of the diaspora. That is quite a large population. In addition to our 1.4 million at home, we have several hundred thousands in these eastern seaboard states where we operate. Mm-hmm.
So talking about challenging times, share with our audience the general services that the consulate provides and how has the pandemic affected those services?
Well, thanks. We have seen quite an increased demand for our services during the pandemic at its height, and even with the abating of the situation here in New York, the demand for our services has increased astronomically. We, of course, our major services relate to passports and administrative and consular services. That would be birth certificates, what we call vital events, births, deaths, marriages, services such as the transportation of cremated remains, other administrative services related to public servants being away on sick leave, having medical care here. So we have been providing these services, but the challenge is, of course, that with the situation, how it's been, we have seen quite an increase in the demand for passports, especially. So we are doing our best to keep pace with that demand.
Are you currently physically open? How are you operating right now?
We're physically open. Persons can visit the office, but only scheduled visits.
By appointments?
Yes, only by appointment. Yeah. There is on-site work, and that's how we're serving our public.
Okay. Now, obviously, we know that the Caribbean in general has been affected by the pandemic. Everyone is facing challenges. What are some of the needs that Trinidad has right now that the diaspora, Trinidadian and friends of Trinidadians and Tobagonians can provide assistance with?
That's a good question. As a nation, we're putting up quite a strong defense against the pandemic, against the spread of the disease. I think you would recall that we started off being congratulated, important quarters for the the type of defense that we put up in the face of the pandemic, the type of management that our leaders executed to keep our population safe. We have done, I think, a marvelous job when you particularly when you consider our geography and the fact that we are a small island, just off the top of South America, not too far from the United States and our neighbors. I think we have put up quite a good fight in protecting ourselves. So I think the biggest assistance that we can get right now, the most important assistance we can get from our friends, is basically their understanding, their support, their discipline, and just an appreciation of what it takes to curb the spread of this very infectious disease. And so you might know that our borders have been closed since March of 2020, and they're about to reopen on July the 17th. So many of our nationals, many people will seek to visit Trinidad and Tobago again. What we would want is for them to behave responsibly when they do get to our shores, our nationals and visitors alike, just to behave responsibly and understand that this is a very deadly disease, and restrictions are to protect you. They are to save lives, to save the lives of those around you. So that's the kind of responsibility and that's the kind of activity and assistance that we would require from our visitors and friends out here.
Speaking about COVID-19, we know that there's been donations to the Caribbean with vaccinations. We also know there's vaccination hesitancy. What are your words of advice, encouragement to those persons who are not following the science, so to speak? Because in the Caribbean, we normally take vaccinations. So what are your words of encouragement in that regard?
Yes, that's interesting because as well as we all know, to vaccinate oneself or to not vaccinate yourself, it is a personal choice. But I think there are many people who they have one fear or another that this vaccine could affect their health adversely. A good observation to make, I always say, is that I don't think this has been contradicted by anybody, is that the ill effects of vaccines are always seen in the short term. And I think everybody who is considering the vaccine has seen people around them being vaccinated. In most cases, or if not just most, the overwhelming majority of cases, they would have seen that their friend, family, colleague, whatever, had no lasting ill effects for weeks, months, whatever. So at a recent event in Brooklyn, I took the opportunity to join with Assemblyman Nick Perry and our own national Assemblywoman Jamie Williams and the Senator Roxanne Passard. We took that opportunity to make a public call in encouraging persons to lay their skepticism aside and get vaccinated, because the risks of infection portend much worse than, the risks of the vaccine by far.
And on a sad note, we've heard the recent news about the assassination of the president of Haiti and also his wife injuries. Any thoughts on that?
Well, our heart always goes out to our CARICOM colleague, Haiti, and our hope is that there would be no further bloodletting, no further violence, and that the people of Haiti would be spared any misery arising out of this situation. So
we want to thank you so much for joining us here. And if you could just give out your contact information, how the diaspora from Trinidad and Tobago can get in contact with the consulate.
Right. I'm glad you asked me that, because we do get some complaints from the public that they are unable to reach us by telephone or they find great difficulty in reaching us by telephone. And the reason for that is that we do have probably a few 100,000 persons in our jurisdiction, and we do have one telephone operator. Of course, we will further automate to ensure that queries and so on will be answered. But our public would need to know that when we upgrade our system, they are not going to get a human any more often than they do at present. And what they have to know is that they need to contact us by email. Okay? Our email address, cgnykonsulatinfo@foreign.gov.tt. That is an email. That's our omnibus email, and you send messages there. We will forward them, and you will have a reply normally within 48 hours you will get a reply, okay, guiding you on as to your next step. However, if persons do visit our website, they may find that all the information that they require to access our services is very, very much available there. Our web page is www.foreign.gov.tt/CG New York, as in CGNEWYORK. So they go there and they can see everything that they need. And so I'm really glad for this opportunity to publicize that address, because people tend to be disappointed when they can't get through, and the questions are really, really quite simple and easy to answer for themselves if they would visit the web page.
Look, would you be kind enough to repeat that website?
Yes. So it's in fact, once you put in your address bar, foreign.gov.tt/CGNEWYORK.
So we want to thank you so much for sharing this information here with us today, and we look forward to welcoming you back here again.
Real pleasure to be here, and I thank you for this opportunity.
You're so welcome. It's our pleasure.
Thanks.
This segment was brought to you courtesy of Caribbean American Weekly, a newspaper owned and operated by Caribbean Americans. Read the latest edition at www.cawnyc.com. That's www.cawnyc.com. To like us on Facebook, to advertise, or to subscribe, visit us at www.cawnyc.com. That's www.cawnyc.com. To advertise with the Caribbean American Weekly publication for freelance assignments to distribute at your business place, visit us at www.cawnyc.com. That's www.cawnyc.com. Or to meet a marketing representative at our office, call 718-771-0988. That's 718-771-0988.